You speak a lot in the sort of poetic and ethereal, but the books you publish actually give people how to do it. I love that because so few experts like you think through the practical application. And you have this great it's a workbook. It says, "Hello, I'm unbothered."
Unbothered.
Unbothered.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great sort of truth to tell yourself. But you go day by day, and I want to read some of the exercises you give people. And I'd love for you to tell us quickly where they come from and why they're important.
Yeah.
So the first thing, you have a little box for us to journal. What's on my mind?
Yep.
Don't overthink it. Literally just write whatever is on your mind right now. Why that?
It's a calibrating exercise, right? Let's just get into the space where we're being honest, and then from there, let's dissect it.
Then you ask, how unbothered am I today? It's on a scale of 1 to 10. Unbothered, it's an adjective, a mix of peaceful acceptance and eagerness to roll with the punches of life.
Yeah.
So why are you having people taking this self-assessment every day?
More calibrating. So like those each day is like a couple calibrations and then a deeper exercise. I approach introspection like working out. Like I'm not going to roll up to a bench press and put on 200 pounds and just start repping. I'm going to hurt myself. It's more of like, let's get into the flow. Let's start to feel something.
Wait, you bench 200 pounds?
I'm capable.
Holy shit.
I'm capable. I used to be really into lifting, but go for walks now,
Okay, so then I think you get a little deeper, right? Then with this, where's my head right now? Circle your answer and then answer the respective question.
Yes.
And one of them is past. In the past, what opened my eyes? In the past.
Yes.
Present.
Yes.
What am I grateful for today?
Yes.
In the future, what do I deserve? What's the etymology? What's the origin of those three?
Well, it's basically, so that idea is like, okay, so we're calibrating, we're understanding how I feel, gut reaction, how unbothered am I feeling by life's various pieces of BS. And then the final is like, where do I feel most of my thoughts originating from and focusing on? Something in the past, overwhelmed by the present, or perhaps worried about the future. And then whichever one we choose, the prompt there is kind of a contrast to that. So if we're worried about the present, let's do some gratitude. If we're worried about the future, let's plan something. Like it's the contrast to the way that if we're just obsessed with the inevitable insecurity of past, present, and future, we could contrast it with something helpful is the idea.
The Buddhists are big believers that you want to be in the present. You want to experience the here and now because everything else is fiction. Yeah. And what I like about these past, present, and future exercise, for the past, you ask, what opened my eyes? Suggesting how does what happened in the past make the present clearer for me? Yeah. The present, what am I grateful for? So right now, what is the world delivering me that I might be overlooking and taking for granted? In the future, what do I deserve? Suggesting that you can visualize a life that it can be yours, but today is the day to start working on it. So it's all kind of different versions of the present.
I'm somewhat of a one-trick pony when it comes to it. That's all about presence and it's all about optimism, right? Whether it's
but you tricked us into thinking it's multi-time dimension.
Got you good there. But it's like it is that idea of looking to the past for something that could fuel your present. You learn from it. Looking to the present to feel grateful for something. Looking to the future to remind yourself of what you deserve. Like I'm a big proponent of journaling from the context of contrast. A lot of journaling I've found is a lot of like, hey, write down some to-do list. Write down 10 times that you're worthy of something. And I think that's very valuable. A lot of the prompts, and I run these events where we do guided reflection, where it's all about taking something frustrating from the past, bringing it into the present, and finding gratitude from it. Like true gratitude, like when you actually feel gratitude, it has to be a mind and body thing. Like I want to feel it. To sit down in the morning and just write, I'm grateful for my health, my friends, and the opportunity to do this podcast. While all very true and valid, I don't feel the true gratitude. Like, so for me, it's like true gratitude, you have to take past pain bring it into the present, and realize that you're lighter because of it. That's an amazing, like I lean on Thich Nhat Hanh's writing about a non-toothache, which is amazing stuff when he talks about how, when we have a toothache, we know that it's really painful, but when we don't have a toothache, we're not grateful because we've just moved on to the next thing. So to be grateful is go back in time to that thing that at one point,
that tooth.
And experience it again in the present, and then be like, open your eyes and be like, oh, I don't have it.
I'm so damn glad my tooth.
But you could do that for anything. It's like if you were sick or you hurt your ankle and you're a runner and now you can run. Just like I really do encourage people to try to do exercises like that. Go to the past, find something that you learned, find something that you overcame, find something that you evolved through, bring it into the present, ground yourself, and then use that to supply the future. Yeah.
One of the things that give me great hope in the emerging generation, I've seen videos of you sitting up on a stage in front of a packed auditorium of people who are sitting there writing intentions.
Yeah.
Like, you're Mick Jagger, and instead of them, screaming like just idiots.
Real rock star. Yeah.
You actually have people doing the introspection, writing these things. When you're in front of these, when you do your public appearances, these audiences, what is the one question that you ask these auditoriums to write, or the one exercise you have them to do that seems to get the biggest response or the biggest return, so to speak?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's a good question. I mean, I formulate them similar to that. Like we start with a how do I feel calibrating, and then the final question is usually around like, I feel this way, negative way, but... And then everyone leaves with like a mantra. I call these sessions mantra. So they leave with something that they hand wrote, and that ties everything together. So most of the prompts for them, that's like, I don't know the answers truly, but I know some prompts that can help.
Draw the answers out of people.
But it's so cool to see people leave with their own, they wrote it. They could tattoo it if they want. They could write it on social media if they want to, but those are always the most rewarding. And I would say like those events are really cool because I've done them for so many groups of people. I do them for the NFL, grown men who hit each other for a living. I do them for makeup and moisturizer brands of all women who are there to think about skincare. They get the same value out of it. And that's not a testament to me. It's not about like how I deliver it. It truly is, if you open yourself up to like that kind of vulnerability and you're eager to change the way you speak to yourself, you're going to get value from it. And the fact that like both of those groups of people do it. And I've done them at nightclubs. I did one at a club here called Space. Like those people love it. Like, anyway, I just think it's very universal, and it always inspires me that like, sometimes I'm like, is this cheesy? Is this sappy? Is this too sensitive? It's for some people, sure. But for someone who really wants to open their heart to being kinder to themselves and being more optimistic, it's like, it hits the mark every single time because they are uncovering the truth. I'm not uncovering it. And I think that's just like, it's such a gift to be able to help, do that.
You
for
drew it
them.
out of you drew truth out of them.
Yeah.
But just interstitially, I want to tell our listeners, our viewers, it's a great story about yourself. So the hottest club in Miami is called Space. And people have been known to come in there and maybe or maybe not take hallucinogens and Molly and dance all night. You told, I don't know if you remember this. You told me you and your wife would like go to bed at 10 o'clock on a Saturday night, and you'd wake up Sunday morning and you have a cappuccino and you go to Space at 6 in the morning and dance until noon. And everybody else, of course, has been there for 8 hours or something. You're like fresh as can be, and you're ripping up the dance floor, and you're, on nothing more than life and a little caffeine.
Truly, I mean, that sounds unhinged if you don't know the club in Miami, but it's like a somewhat fairly normal thing to do. Like we'll have a coffee there, then we'll go to the farmer's market and we'll go do our taxes. Like that's the order.
I go do my. You were an original.
I think but as much as that is funny, kind of from an outside perspective, I think music is like so powerful when it comes to mindfulness and happiness. And of course, we know this is obvious stuff, but like anything I've ever written, I'm always listening to house music. Upbeat dance music. I am all about the structure of dance music, which is break, build, drop, break, build, drop. It's got this euphoric cadence to it that, to me, it just draws emotions out of me. It literally,
Wow.
it is like a vulnerability switch. So I'd really encourage people, like, if you're like, Case, like you're speaking in a lot of poetry and you're talking about worth and like, I just don't get it. Understandable. I would take a prompt that I've written or just sit down, put on some house music, different genres of house. There's progressive house and Afro house and different EDM genres. Find one that draws it out because it really does.
Yeah.
And I don't really know how to explain it, but like sometimes like that's important, like context, environment, sometimes just that final thing that all of a sudden you're like, whoa, I feel something. So as a tidbit of practicality for people, if they can't relate to some of this, I would recommend that. And also find your zone of creativity. Like for me, I really do most of my work between like 10 and 1. And that's like between coffee 1 and coffee 2 with house music. And then pretty much after that, I've kind of lost my sauce. So like know yourself. Like if you try to sit down at the end of a long day and you're trying to journal and choose the right words, it might be pretty difficult. So try it when you're in your optimal zone for vulnerability, eagerness to do the thing. And I think you'll find it easier and you won't be turned off by it because you've got, outside chaos.
And try some house music.
Try some house music. I work with DJs. Like we do these sets on the podcast sometimes where they'll play a 60-minute set, and in the interludes, I'll basically kind of do what I just did with some of this stuff. It's cool to see the way that not everyone responds well to silent meditation. Some people want a little bit more catalyst and creativity. So I try to be that guy.
So there's another generation, William Burroughs, the great beat poet, wrote Naked Lunch, but he I think he's probably the first one to read poetry to house music. And the name of I was just Googling it, the name of the album is Spare Ass Annie. And if you love the genre, I can't recommend it enough.
Provocative, love it. I'll have to check it out. Yeah, I'm sure I'm not original or first there, but
and you may be original in a new generation.
Yeah.
One of the things that sort of daily exercises you have people doing, which I really like, and I think it resonates with me, and I attribute much of my success to it, is the one big thing I want to manifest. Big.
Yeah.
And, I come from the Midwest, which is, I love it, Minnesota, but it's, land of bad hair, sensible shuls, and sort of apologetic people who, just don't want to make waves and the tall tree gets chopped down, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I had a experience with George Plimpton. He was editor of the Paris Review. He wrote several New York Times bestsellers. He's the first participatory journalist in New York City. He taught me how to think big. I was thinking about doing a bike ride when I was 22 years old. And he said, well, why don't you set a world record?
Nice.
And I'm like, oh, okay.
That's great.
And that little thing, one big thing I want to manifest. I want to set a world record for bicycling.
That's great.
And I conceived this ride from Alaska to Argentina, the top of North America to the bottom of South America. And I went and did it. And you know what? It was no harder than doing another big ride. I just thought big. And then biked around the world. And wait, you can't get around the world because there's this little tiny thing called the Soviet Union where they don't let Americans. And I kept at it like terrier on a pant leg. And I hold the world record for biking around the world through the Soviet Union.
Wow.
And then bike across Africa. I hold the record for biking top of the bottom. And this is all the manifestation of a big idea and then breaking the big idea down into doable segments, all of which were pretty easy.
Yeah.
And I just think of all these exercises in your very good book, Hello, I'm Unbothered, the one big thing you want to manifest, that should be written down.
Yeah.
And, I'd even tear it off and I'd put it on my mirror and look at it every day.
Well, yeah, I appreciate that. That sounds like light work for you. Those incredible. Congrats to you. It's funny. I hesitated at first to use the word manifest, right? Because manifestation has become this thing where, it's a nod to The Secret and the power of visualization, which I do not deny in any capacity. As a former somewhat skeptic of wellness in my 20s, I always used to think manifest was such a hokey term, but I used it specifically there. And there's other prompts in the book and in the journal. And I think that's both of you talked about what manifest really means. And I have people write that down to describe the reality they want to live. So the reality is I want to set a world record for this, or I want to be a New York Times bestselling author for this, or I want to find this job, whatever. Write that down. And then we go back to the way that we've been talking to ourselves, because the whole idea with manifesting is, I don't have a great definition of manifesting like some people do, like get in alignment with your vibrations and create the abundance that you deserve. I don't know what kind of thing that means. All I know is that manifesting is bringing two things together: the things you tell yourself and the reality you say you want to live. And I've just found the majority of people are telling themselves two opposing things in that case. They'll be telling themselves that I'm unlovable, but I want to find my soulmate. Those two things can't logically can coexist. And it's just a simple thing. So the job then becomes, through journaling, through mindfulness, of bridging that gap to make sure that what we tell ourselves supports the reality we want to live. And it's that simple. And so it's all connected, right? So we're talking in the beginning about the language we use to describe ourselves. That one, writing the one big thing we want to manifest down. The conversation I would have with Mr. Stuck in Iowa guy about, you're stuck, but what are you stuck between? What is that thing? What is the thing you want to manifest? Then we go back to what we're telling ourselves. And we're just making sure that that is fluid, that the logic supports both. And then we'll let the universe manifest or align or abundance or whatever it may be. But at least we're using language intuitively and logically that supports both of them. So that's the idea with that.
I love it. So if you like that clip, there's a lot more where that came from. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell so you won't miss our new videos as they come out each week.